Hi everyone, it's been a big week here. I just had an amazing chat with Madeline Cunningham on the Unscripted Files podcast. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. And I'm beyond honored to have Fitty Homicide nominated for a Critics' Choice Award. I had a lot of questions after the podcast, and I hope this video answers some of them. Behind every frame of Fitty Homicide lies a carefully crafted visual language, which we wanted to build with intention, restraint, and the right gear. So let's talk about the gear. The backbone of our image here is the Sony FX9. This is my A cam across most of the production. I paired it with vintage Canon FD prime lenses. These are fully manual glass that adds a layer of texture and imperfection that you simply don't get from the modern lenses. The FD primes have a warmth and softness in the highlights that help us give Fitty a cinematic yet grounded look. It's gritty but never overly polished. Then the FX9 full frame sensor gave us the flexibility to work in low light, and its 10-bit 422 color allowed us to push skin tones and shadows in post without falling apart. Before we even rolled a camera on Fitty Homicide, we prepped everything. What I would do is study the space we're going to shoot. I would look at reference photos, floor plans, and grab iPhone snaps that producers would send me during scouts. I wasn't just looking at where to set up lights, I was also thinking about where the emotion lived in the room. For interviews, I planned the talent's position first, whether he was back to a window or in the middle of a room. I wanted to have the person framed by architectural elements that told us something about who they were. Then I would decide where to key from, usually with the Nightlight 300 through diffusion and flagged off to keep things shaped and moody. So basically, every angle, every bounce, and shadow was considered in advance, because once the crew is in and time's ticking, the prep means the difference between rushing and setup and really crafting a frame that serves a story. Our B cam on Fitty Homicide was the FX6. It's smaller, it's lighter, but it's still super capable of matching the FX9 when dialed in correctly. We use the FX6 for second angles during interviews, for very take coverage, especially in tighter spaces or on gimbal. And both cameras were color matched in post, but the key was consistent LUTs and lighting control on set. Lighting was always designed to be motivated, never flashy or intentional. So for key lighting, we lean heavily on the Nightlight Forza 300s. They gave us a strong, controllable source that we could diffuse through softboxes or bounce off muslin to get that natural fall off, especially for the interviews. To add color depth and atmosphere in the background, we use quasar tubes. These are RGB capable, dimmable, and we could easily hide them from the frame. We put them in little cubicles or behind furniture in different rooms, and they let us dial in substitutes to separate a subject from the environment or push the mood when it was needed. So cooler blues in the interrogation setups or when we're interviewing law enforcement, and then warmer tones in homes environments, always aiming for that emotional contrast. The city of Philadelphia was much more than just a backdrop to Fitty Homicide. It was a character. We wanted to capture Philadelphia's scale and texture, and for that we used the Inspire 3 from DJI, and it became our work drone. It gave us the stability, the dynamic range to match the FX9, and with the X9 camera system, we were shooting full frame ProRes RAW, keeping our image pipeline clean and cinematic. We flew during golden hour and early mornings. We flew it over the Benjamin Franklin Bridge and along the Delaware. And we wanted to anchor each aerial to the story below. The way we did it is we were very intentional about it. We didn't overshoot. A lot of times when you have too many drone shots, you lose the weight of the ground, the closeness, the tension. I wanted the viewers to feel like they were walking the same streets as the detectives, not just watching it from above. When we did use the Inspire 3, it was for a reason: to reveal the city's geography, to isolate a crime scene, retrace the step of a killer, and we made sure we gave just enough perspective, then brought the viewer right back into the story. The key throughout production was consistency and restraint. We didn't want the visuals to overshadow the story, but to support it. We wanted to create intimacy during the interviews and a clear sense of space in the city itself. In Philly Homicide, we never wanted to gear to lead, but rather to follow the emotion, the pacing, and the truth of each case. With the FX9 and FX6 working in tandem, vintage FD primes, adding some character, and a lighting setup that flexes from cinematic to invisible, we had every technical decision served one purpose: bring the viewer closer to the human side of homicide investigations in Philadelphia.